Hello, this is Jude from Real Black in Japan channel. You guys, please like and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. We are working hard to explain the quote unquote black experience in Japan. From a person that is married to a Japanese woman, has 3 kids. Just telling you, if you ever come to Japan, kind of like what to expect, and maybe some things you wouldn't expect. So yeah.
All
Today.
right.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Today's topic is racism.
Okay.
Yes. Do you think there is a racism in Japan toward black people?
Um, to a degree, I would say yes.
Okay. What about to general foreigners?
Yes. That's probably more in line with the quote unquote like racism is just towards foreigners. Is it really racism, or is it like a form of prejudice, or like a you know
Yeah.
these our kids are always loud. So maybe
Yeah,
I don't think racism is the correct term. Racism is like a action. Like you may have like prejudiced feelings, but racism is like an action. Like they're like doing like it's in America. Like there's racism. Like they do things
Yes.
to you. They're it's like a love. Love is an action. It's a feeling, but it's like an action to be expressed.
So in the States, like black people might not get hired for a position just because
Yeah,
of the race.
for sure.
Or some people are more hostile
Yes.
toward black people just because of the skin color.
Yes.
Do you see that in Japan?
Particularly because of the skin color?
Yes.
No. No. Japan is from my experience, especially being here, I think there's a word like xenophobic or something. It's like because Japan is an island and has kind of been isolated from the world for a bit. It's always generally like a us and a them type thing.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
but like can you say like my experience in the early years was that there is some hostility between Japanese people and Chinese people. So would you say they are the same race? I mean, I guess you can say that if you go by the racial classifications of mankind, but there's Japanese would probably prefer me than Chinese people from my experiences.
True. So how do you describe this condition, the racism?
It's like a
Us and them.
yeah, it's just the us and them. It's not like a hostile, like we're just going to oppress you. We're not going to do or whatever. Because there are, like I said, there are other Asians who get treated
That's true.
way worse. For instance, well, we gave an interview to a kind of what you would call a lower caste class Japanese here, and a police officer literally just kind of like moved us out the way to go harass them. But we were the one with the loud radio. But they went to go harass these Japanese rappers. And I was like, wow, like,
So
you know,
so the racism that it's not racism, but this experience that you get from people in Japan is a lot less harmful or hurtful
yeah.
to you?
There, I can honestly say I haven't really experienced racism happen to me. I've not. I have not. Like I said, there was one time we had a guy they called me the N word,
Yes.
but then he says Tupac is God, and he was dead serious. He
And
wasn't.
he was under some influence.
He might have been on drugs. Yeah. But when he said Tupac is God, he wasn't under no influence. He was dead serious. But I think when he was under the influence, he called me the N word, and
He was friendly
I mean, yeah, he wouldn't.
previously.
We couldn't get him out of our house. Like he was like, he couldn't have been too racist. He like didn't want to
Right,
leave. He
right,
was trying to
right.
move in our house, and I mean, but is that no? Like he was, he wasn't like racist.
Right.
We haven't, you know.
So you think that generally Japanese people like blacks?
I would say that's not necessarily like or dislike. I would say indifferent and probably on a case by case situation. They get to know you. If they listen to American media and things, whatever, they may have a preconceived idea about what blacks are like. You know,
Positive?
American media does rarely ever
Always.
paints us in a positive
Positive
light.
way.
It's always in some vile, abominable type way. So if Japanese people look at that and listen to that, then they would get an idea formed. But generally, because we do experience racism so much in America, that I thought that this is just how it is everywhere. But when I ask Japanese people like how they feel, they're like we don't care. Many places in the world are just not. They just don't have a history of racism. It's nationalism. Like I said, Japanese and Chinese, there's some kind of friction that
Yes.
foreigners like us are not so much aware of. Japan and Koreans, it's and it's like kind of like it's interesting, it's like, but it's nationalism, not racism. So they don't seem to have a problem with Black Americans. In the 30s, the Japanese were inviting us to move to Japan because they had jobs for us during the World War II
Right.
days. So Black Americans and Japanese have always had a positive relationship. I mean, Mike Tyson would come here. Our artists and stuff come here and they make more money here and get more love here
Yes.
as artists than they do in America. So there's racism everywhere, but Japan is not particularly like hostile towards blacks. They don't, you're just a foreigner, like you could be white and experience the same type of treatment. Like let's say, to keep it short, let's say if you want to call this racist, if you want to call this racist, this is as bad as it gets. You're on the train. There is an open space for people to sit
Next to you.
next to me, right? And then across from me, there's like people crammed together, and there's like a little space this big, and some person will like squeeze in just to avoid sitting next to me.
Yes.
Is that the reason why? And I figured out talking to people, the reason why is it's not, he has brown skin, or he's probably going to speak to me
In English.
in English, and I don't know how to respond to him. So if I sit over here, I don't have that worry because they're afraid of like,
Yes.
I might say something like, "Hey, how you doing?" So my kids, sorry. So that's as bad as it gets. Whatever. One day I played a joke on the train with my daughter. She speaks English and Japanese, and I said to her in Japanese, I was like, Japanese people, they're afraid of foreigners. But I said it in Japanese, and a girl like sat next to us, was like, no. Of course, I'm a troll like that. But yeah, that's about the extent of racism. They have like bars and things that say Japanese only, right? But that's not. Sorry, my son. I wouldn't call that racism. Why do foreigners need to be everywhere where Japanese are? Why do you need to be? Why can't they have their own thing? If we have Black Americans here in Japan, if we have a black party, and if the Japanese were like, well, we want to come, of course we would say, of course you can come, but I'm sure they would be like, why do we need to be there? It's a black party. You know what I'm saying? So why can't people have their own things? And I don't feel any type of way about Japanese only signs. Hey, dude, they're probably not fun to hang out with anyways. Those people in there. So what do I care? But that's my experience with quote unquote racism in Japan. You're just a foreigner. You can be white, you can be Chinese, you can be whatever. They know you're a foreigner, and that's just what it is.
I wonder how people would treat blacks in other countries like China, Korea.
Bad.
Yeah.
Well, the Africans that are there in China, they get treated like poop. And Koreans don't generally know other people. They're like Europeans,
Right.
but darker skinned people, they don't
Not
really.
really.
This is gonna sound really mean too, but black people really don't. We really don't deal with like Korean people and Chinese people all like that to begin with, because in America, in our neighborhoods, they live in our poor neighborhoods and they just sell us poison. So we have this kind of like thing with Japanese, with Chinese and Koreans, where it's not a friendly thing. But with Japanese, you guys are not in our neighborhood selling us poison, so we don't have that attitude towards you guys. So yeah, that's my experience of racism in Japan.
So people in the States, the black people, would be surprised that they don't have to feel that they're hated
For sure.
in Japan.
For sure. I'm not sure if it's because I look like one of the Japanese singers that they say I look like. I don't know what it is, but I get respect and, so
Yeah.
I get treated better by Japanese than blacks in Japan. Blacks in Japan are really funny acting people. So, they act more weird than Japanese people towards me. This is my experience. So,
Interesting.
yes.
All right.
All right. We're going to do probably 2 more videos, you guys. So if you see me wearing this shirt, and again, it's not that I'm wearing it multiple days. It is, we're going to make a new video back to back. And with that, we'll see you guys next video. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.